Welcome to Zarpadal. Today we bring you an exciting journey through time with the part 2 of half an hour of history facts. If you are passionate about uncovering the secrets of the past and learning surprising trivia, this is the place for you. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our fascinating videos. Let's dive into history together. The ancient Inca civilization, which flourished in the Andes between the 15th and 16th centuries, is known for its impressive network of roads. This vast infrastructure, known as the Capac Ñan, stretched for over 25,000 miles, connecting the various regions of the Inca Empire. Roads were vital for trade, communication, and the movement of armies. The Incas built these roads using advanced engineering techniques, adapting to the mountainous terrain and harsh weather conditions. The road network not only facilitated the transportation of goods, but also allowed for the spread of culture and ideas throughout the empire. This communication system was so effective that it is said that a message could travel from Cusco, the capital of the empire, to the coast in a matter of days. The Capac Ñan is a testament to human ingenuity and a reminder of how infrastructure can bring societies together. Today, many of these ancient paths are still used by local communities and are recognized as World Heritage Sites by UNESCO. Felix Faure, president of the Third French Republic, is remembered not only for his political career, but also for the unusual circumstances of his death. In 1899, Faure died in a Paris brothel, an event that caused a great scandal in the society of the time. The situation became even more dramatic when the young woman who accompanied him suffered such a strong shock that the doctors had to act in an extreme way. It is said that, in order to separate them, it was necessary to perform a surgical intervention in which the president's penis was amputated. A detail that, although it may seem exaggerated, underlines the scandal of the incident. In 1903, Marie Curie became the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize in physics for her research into radioactivity. Then in 1911, she won another Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, for the discovery of radioactive elements, making her the first person to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different categories. Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled to 2 different islands. After his defeat in 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled to the island of Elba, but escaped and returned to France to rule briefly during the 100 Days. Following his final defeat at the Battle of Waterloo, he was exiled again, this time to the island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, where he died in 1821. The first high-speed train was Japanese. Japan's famous Shinkansen, or bullet train, began operating in 1964, marking the beginning of the era of high-speed trains. Its innovative design and ability to reach speeds of up to 320 kilometers per hour changed rail transport forever. The first football contract was signed in 1863. The first official football match under the rules of the Football Association was played in England in 1863. It was in this year that the first professional football contract was signed, marking the beginning of the modern history of this sport. Cleopatra was not Egyptian, although she is known as the Queen of Egypt. Cleopatra VII was of Macedonian Greek descent. Her family ruled Egypt after Alexander the Great's conquest, and she herself spoke Greek as her primary language. The Titanic had enough lifeboats, but they weren't enough for everyone. The Titanic, which sank in 1912, had enough lifeboats to accommodate only half of the passengers on board. However, due to lack of preparation and panic, many boats were not used properly. Vikings did not wear horned helmets. The popular image of Vikings wearing horned helmets is a myth. There is no historical evidence to support that they wore such helmets. Viking helmets were plain and made of metal, with no ornamentation. The Roman Empire had a 248,548 miles road network. The Romans were skilled in engineering and created a vast network of roads that connected the Roman Empire, facilitating trade and troop movement. Some of these roads still exist today. The Industrial Revolution also brought about the first working hours. During the Industrial Revolution, working conditions were harsh, with work days lasting up to 16 hours. It was then that the first concepts of fixed working hours began to be established, although significant reforms did not come until much later. Written by Miguel de Cervantes and published in 1605, Don Quixote de la Mancha is considered the first modern novel. This masterpiece has influenced world literature and has been the subject of countless analyses and adaptations. Through the adventures of its protagonist, Don Quixote, Cervantes explores themes such as madness, reality, and illusion. The impact of Don Quixote extends beyond literature. It has inspired artists, filmmakers, and playwrights throughout the centuries. The work delves into the complexity of the human being and his search for meaning in an often chaotic world. Cervantes, with his keen social observation and narrative skill, has left a legacy that continues to resonate in contemporary culture. The French Revolution, which began in 1789, was a monumental uprising of the people against the monarchy. This movement demanded liberty, equality, and fraternity, principles that have come to define modern democracies. The revolution not only transformed France, its ideals spread across Europe and beyond, inspiring human rights movements around the world. Key events of the revolution, such as the storming of the Bastille and the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, ushered in a new era. The French Revolution challenged traditional power structures and laid the groundwork for the development of liberal democracies. Its legacy lives on today, reminding us of the importance of fighting for fundamental rights and social justice. The revolution also had a significant impact on culture and the arts. Revolutionary ideals inspired artists and writers to explore new themes and forms of expression, giving rise to movements such as Romanticism. The ancient city of Pompeii, located near the volcano Vesuvius, was preserved beneath the ashes following its eruption in 79 AD. This catastrophic event froze a moment in time, providing a unique window into everyday life in ancient Rome. Excavations have revealed homes, shops, and frescoes that offer a detailed insight into the customs and daily activities of its inhabitants. Pompeii has become an important archaeological site that attracts millions of visitors each year. The city is not only a testament to Roman architectural ingenuity, but also a reminder of the fragility of human life in the face of the forces of nature. Through the study of Pompeii, historians have been able to reconstruct significant aspects of Roman culture and better understand its values and beliefs. The archaeological site has also provided insight into the Roman economy, religion, and social structure. The wall paintings and mosaics found at Pompeii are considered some of the finest examples of ancient Roman art. Leonardo da Vinci is best known for his masterpieces such as the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper, but his genius extended far beyond painting. Da Vinci was also an inventor, scientist, and engineer. His notebooks contain drawings and concepts for machines that were centuries ahead of their time. From designs for a helicopter to studies on human anatomy, his insatiable curiosity led him to explore a wide range of disciplines. Da Vinci's interdisciplinary approach has inspired later generations, making him a symbol of the Renaissance. His ability to observe the world around him and question established norms made him one of the most influential thinkers in history. Da Vinci's work and writings are still studied today, reminding us of the importance of critical thinking and creativity. Furthermore, his interest in human anatomy led to significant advances in the medical field. His detailed drawings of the human body were revolutionary for their time and influenced later physicians and anatomists. The Industrial Revolution, which began in the late 18th century in Britain, radically transformed agrarian economies into industrial ones. This change not only altered the way people worked, but also how they lived. The invention of machines such as the power loom and the steam engine enabled mass production that had previously been unimaginable. Cities grew rapidly as people moved from the countryside to urban areas in search of factory work. This phenomenon brought with it a number of social challenges, including poor working conditions and an increase in pollution. However, it also laid the groundwork for modern economic development and the rise of capitalism. The Industrial Revolution marked a pivotal point in human history. It changed not only the economy, but also social and cultural relations. Technological innovations continue to shape our daily lives, reminding us how progress can bring both benefits and hardships. The famous phrase, "I think, therefore I am," comes from the French philosopher René Descartes, who addressed questions about existence and the nature of human knowledge. Published in his work Metaphysical Meditations, this statement has become a pillar of modern philosophical thought. Descartes sought to establish a solid foundation for human knowledge, arguing that the act of doubting or thinking is sufficient proof of our existence. His rationalist approach profoundly influenced the later development of Western philosophy, laying the groundwork for debates about epistemology and metaphysics. Through his work, Descartes invites us to question our beliefs and seek a deeper understanding of the world around us. His legacy lives on today in fields as diverse as philosophy, cognitive science, and psychology. Descartes' influence extends beyond the philosophical realm. His scientific method has been instrumental in the development of modern critical thought. In 1963, during the March on Washington, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. This pivotal moment in the civil rights movement in the United States resonated deeply in the hearts of millions and became a symbol of hope and fight for racial equality. The speech advocated for a future where all people were judged by their character and not the color of their skin. King used powerful poetic imagery to communicate his vision of an inclusive and just society. His leadership during this turbulent period not only helped advance civil rights in the United States, but also inspired similar movements around the world. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy lives on. His message remains relevant today as we fight discrimination and seek to build more equitable societies. His work has influenced not only the United States, but also global leaders seeking social justice and human rights. The Phoenicians are known for having developed one of the first alphabets that influenced later writing systems, such as Greek and Latin. This advancement was fundamental to written communication and facilitated trade across the Mediterranean. The Phoenician alphabet consisted of 22 consonants and lacked vowels. However, its simplicity allowed for greater accessibility to learning and using written language. As it spread to other cultures, it laid the groundwork for the alphabetic systems we use today. The Phoenician contribution to the development of the alphabet is a clear example of how cultural innovations can have a lasting impact on human civilization. Their legacy lives on not only in our daily writing, but also in our understanding of language as an essential tool for communication. The Phoenicians were also known for their trading skills. They established trade routes across the Mediterranean and founded colonies that facilitated cultural exchange. The Battle of Gettysburg, fought in July 1863 during the American Civil War, was a turning point in favor of the Union. This confrontation is remembered as one of the bloodiest and most decisive of the conflict, with thousands of casualties on both sides. Gettysburg symbolizes not only a military victory, but also a significant change in the course of the war. The Confederate defeat weakened their ability to launch future offensives and strengthened the resolve of the Unionist Army. In addition, this battle laid the groundwork for Abraham Lincoln's famous speech known as the Gettysburg Address, where he reaffirmed the principles of liberty and equality. The legacy of Gettysburg endures as a reminder of the human cost associated with war conflicts and the importance of fighting for a united nation. The battle also had significant political implications. It helped consolidate support for the war effort among those who were hesitant about whether or not to continue the conflict. German philosopher Immanuel Kant proposed ideas about ethics and morality that remain central to contemporary philosophical thought. His critique of pure reason challenged previous notions about knowledge and experience, while his groundwork for the metaphysics of morals laid the groundwork for his categorical ethics. Kant argued that actions should be evaluated according to universal principles. This means that we should act according to maxims that can be applied universally without contradiction. His rationalist approach has profoundly influenced contemporary ethical debates about moral responsibility and social justice. Kantian thought invites us to reflect on our daily decisions. It reminds us that our actions have implications beyond the individual and that we should act with integrity towards others. The ethical ideas proposed by Kant have been fundamental to developing modern concepts of human rights and individual dignity. In 1920, the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was ratified, granting women the right to vote. This milestone was the result of decades of struggle by feminist activists who advocated for political and social equality. The suffrage movement faced numerous obstacles. However, their perseverance eventually led to the legal recognition of the right to vote for American women. This achievement not only transformed the American political landscape, but also inspired similar movements around the world. The ratification of the 19th Amendment represents a crucial step towards equality. It continues to serve as a symbol of collective power when people come together to fight for their fundamental rights. This advancement was instrumental in empowering women and introducing significant changes in other areas, such as education and employment. The ancient Babylonian civilization is famous for its advances in mathematics and astronomy. They developed a numerical system based on the number 60, which we still use today to measure time, 60 seconds in a minute, and angles 360 degrees in a circle. This system allowed for complex calculations that were fundamental to their agricultural and astronomical practices. The Babylonians made precise astronomical observations that allowed them to predict eclipses and planetary cycles. Their knowledge influenced not only later civilizations, but also laid the groundwork for future scientific research. The Babylonian legacy highlights how accumulated knowledge can be passed down through time. Their contributions remain relevant today as we continue to explore our universe. Their mathematical discoveries were also essential to developing modern concepts such as algebra and geometry. The famous explorer Christopher Columbus arrived in America in 1492 under the Spanish flag. This event marked the beginning of an era of European exploration and colonization in the New World. Although Columbus was seeking a shorter route to Asia, his arrival on the American continent had profound and unexpected consequences. The expedition set off a series of events that radically transformed both Europe and America, from cultural exchanges to violent conflicts between colonizers and indigenous people. Columbus is a controversial figure. While some see him as an explorer hero, others criticize his role in brutal colonization. Columbus's voyage symbolizes the meeting of two different worlds. His legacy persists today as we reflect on the historical impacts of colonialism. This historical period has led to contemporary debates on how to remember complex historical figures like Columbus. The theory of relativity, formulated by Albert Einstein between 1905 and 1915, revolutionized our understanding of space, time, and gravity. Before Einstein, classical notions of physics were dominated by Isaac Newton. However, Einstein challenged these ideas by proposing that time and space are interdependent. His famous equation established a relationship between mass and energy, opening new frontiers in theoretical physics and practical applications, such as nuclear power. The relativistic theory not only transformed our scientific understanding, but also had profound philosophical implications for how we perceive our place in the universe. Einstein became a cultural icon. His work continues to inspire scientists and innovators as we continue to explore the mysteries of the cosmos. The theory has been confirmed by multiple scientific experiments since then, solidifying its fundamental place within the modern physics field. During the Middle Ages, universities emerged in Europe as key centers for learning. Places like Bologna and Paris were pioneers in this academic development. These institutions offered formal education based on classical studies and introduced new disciplines, such as philosophy, law, and medicine. Medieval universities promoted intellectual exchange between cultures. Many students traveled long distances to attend classes and interact with leading scholars. This phenomenon laid the groundwork for the development of critical and scientific thought during the later Renaissance. The medieval educational legacy endures today. Our modern universities are rooted in these historic principles that value shared knowledge and lifelong learning. The novel 100 Years of Solitude, written by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, is an emblematic work of magical realism that has left an indelible mark on world literature. Published in 1967, the story takes place in the fictional town of Macondo, where the lives of the Buendia family intertwine over several generations. The work explores themes such as cyclical time, loneliness, and family struggles, all in a context where the magical and the everyday coexist. Garcia Marquez uses Macondo as a microcosm to reflect the reality of Latin America, addressing issues such as war, power, and cultural identity. The non-linear narrative structure allows the reader to experience time in a different way, where the past, present, and future intertwine. The ancient Egyptians were true masters of architecture and construction, responsible for some of the most impressive structures in the ancient world. The pyramids of Giza, built around 2500 BC, are perhaps the most iconic examples of their architectural skill. These majestic buildings not only served as tombs for the pharaohs, but also reflect the complexity of Egyptian society and its religious beliefs. The construction of the pyramids required an advanced knowledge of mathematics and astronomy, as well as a highly developed social organization. It is estimated that thousands of workers were involved in their construction, using simple but effective tools to move enormous blocks of stone. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, is composed of approximately 2.3 million limestone and granite blocks, some of which weigh more than 2 tons. Today, the pyramids remain an enduring symbol of Egyptian civilization and attract millions of tourists each year. The Paris Peace Agreement ended the Spanish-American War in 1898, marking a significant shift in the balance of power in the world. This conflict arose primarily from tensions between the United States and Spain over the situation in Cuba, which sought independence from Spanish rule. The war was brief but intense and resulted in significant territorial changes for the United States. As a result of the agreement, Spain ceded Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines to the United States, while Cuba gained its independence. This treaty not only altered the political map of the Caribbean and the Pacific, but also marked the beginning of American imperialist expansion abroad. The Spanish-American War is a clear example of how conflicts can have long-lasting repercussions on international relations. The Paris Peace Agreement also raised questions about colonialism and self-determination, issues that remain relevant in global politics today. The way the United States handled its new position as a world power set the stage for its role in future events of the 20th century, including both world wars and the Cold War. Famed British author J.K. Rowling created the magical world of Harry Potter, which has captured the imagination of millions since its first publication in 1997. The series follows the adventures of young wizard Harry Potter and his friends at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry as they battle the dark wizard Voldemort. Not only has the story been a commercial success, but it has also addressed universal themes such as friendship, love, bravery, and the fight against evil. The series has inspired a vast franchise that includes films, plays, and theme parks, becoming a global cultural phenomenon. In addition, Rowling has been recognized for her ability to address social issues through her writing. Themes such as discrimination, power, and the importance of sacrifice resonate throughout the series, offering valuable lessons for young and adult readers alike. The series has fostered a sense of community among its followers, who have found in it a space to share their love of reading and explore complex topics. The ancient Mesopotamian civilization is considered one of the cradles of human civilization. Located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, this region was home to some of the world's first city-states, such as Ur in Babylon. The Mesopotamians developed cuneiform writing, one of the earliest known forms of writing, which allowed them to record their history, laws, and literature. Agriculture also flourished in Mesopotamia thanks to its advanced irrigation systems, leading to population growth and economic development. Religion played a central role in Mesopotamian life. Their gods were worshipped through monumental temples and complex rituals. Mesopotamian influence can be seen in many later cultures. Their contributions to writing, mathematics, and astronomy laid the groundwork for the development of future civilizations. Studying this ancient civilization offers us valuable lessons about human progress and how innovations can transform entire societies. The famous Greek philosopher Plato founded the Academy in Athens around 387 BC, regarded as the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. The Academy became an important center for philosophical and scientific study for centuries. Plato used this space to teach his ideas about justice, politics, and the nature of knowledge. His philosophical dialogues have profoundly influenced Western thought and have been studied for generations. Through his dialectical method, Plato fostered an intellectual environment where complex ideas about human existence were discussed. The Academy was a fundamental precursor to modern universities. Its focus on critical dialogue and the pursuit of knowledge has endured to this day. Plato's influence extends beyond philosophy. His ideas have impacted fields such as politics, ethics, and education. In 1492, the Kingdom of Granada, the last Muslim stronghold on the Iberian Peninsula, fell to the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella. This event marked the end of the Reconquista, a historical process lasting almost 8 centuries, during which Christian kingdoms sought to regain territory controlled by Muslims. The fall of Granada not only had immediate political consequences, it also symbolized a significant cultural shift in Spain. With territorial unification under the Catholic monarchs, an era of exploration began that would culminate in the discovery of America that same year. This event has been the subject of historical debate. Some see it as a Christian triumph, while others interpret it as a dark period for cultural diversity in Spain. The Reconquista left a lasting legacy on Spanish identity that is still felt today. Adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights sets out fundamental rights that should be guaranteed to all human beings without distinction. This historic document was drafted in the wake of the atrocities committed during World War II and reflects a global consensus on inalienable rights that must be protected. The declaration includes civil and political rights, as well as economic, social, and cultural rights. Its impact has been profound. It has served as the basis for numerous international treaties and national laws that promote human rights. Despite its importance, many challenges remain in its implementation worldwide. The Universal Declaration continues to be a beacon for those fighting for justice and equality in various parts of the world. During the Cold War, the world was divided between 2 superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. This period, which lasted from the end of World War II until the early 1990s, was characterized by political, ideological, and military tensions that did not lead to direct armed conflict between the 2 nations. The Cold War led to indirect conflicts in various regions of the world, as well as an intense nuclear arms race. Competition between the United States and the Soviet Union also manifested itself in areas such as space. The launch of the Sputnik satellite by the Soviet Union in 1957 marked the beginning of a new era in space exploration. The end of the Cold War brought about a significant change in the world order. Many countries experienced transitions to democratic systems or economic reforms. However, the geopolitical repercussions are still felt today, with persistent tensions between different nations. The ancient Greek civilization is known for its immense contributions to diverse fields such as philosophy, democracy, mathematics, and theater. Figures such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle laid the foundations of Western thought. Their ideas about ethics, politics, and knowledge have deeply influenced later generations. Greece is also considered the birthplace of democracy. Athens introduced a political system where citizens could actively participate in government decisions. This model has served as an inspiration for modern democratic systems around the world. In the artistic realm, the Greeks developed theatrical forms that are still performed today. Classical works such as Greek tragedies and comedies continue to be studied and adapted to contemporary cinema and theater. In 1865, slavery was officially abolished in the United States with the ratification of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. This event marked a crucial step toward racial equality and was a direct result of the intense debate over human rights in the years prior. Abolition not only freed millions of African Americans from bondage, it also raised difficult questions about how to integrate these free individuals into a society deeply divided by racial issues. Despite the legal progress toward equality, struggles for civil rights continued for decades afterward. Today, the legacy of this abolition lives on. Civil rights movements have continued to fight against systemic racism and promote a more just and equal society. The famous British scientist Charles Darwin proposed his theory of evolution through natural selection in his work On the Origin of Species, published in 1859. This theory challenged established beliefs about creation by suggesting that all species evolve over time through the natural process based on inherited variations. Darwin made extensive observations during his voyage around the world aboard the HMS Beagle. His studies of flora and fauna led him to formulate revolutionary ideas about how life on our planet works. His work laid the groundwork for modern biology and profoundly influenced fields such as genetics and ecology. Despite the positive impact his theory had on our scientific understanding of the natural world, Darwin also faced significant criticism from traditional religious perspectives. His legacy continues to be the subject of both admiration and controversy today. What curious facts surprised you the most? Leave your opinion in the comments and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on Zarpato content.